Coming up on the Monday edition of Carolina Week.
It's Employee Appreciation Week, so why are so many state workers feeling unappreciated?
Then, are you having trouble getting registered for classes? Well, you're not alone.
And in sports, we know it was bad, but we'll show you how the team reacted to its 55-point loss to Louisville.
Plus a look at your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and more, Carolina Week starts right now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the October 10th edition of Carolina Week. I'm Philip Jones.
And I'm Shaheen Sayal. Monday kicked off Employee Appreciation Week at the university.
But despite having a week just for them, some employees are not feeling very appreciated. An increase in health insurance premiums has all but wiped out a recent raise for many state employees. Reporter Shelley Basinger joins us live in the studio to tell us more. Shelley?
Philip, a lot of workers on campus told me the raise they got from the state wasn't big enough. And that was before they got hit with bigger insurance payments. For many of these employees, keeping their health insurance is putting a strain on their wallets. Associate Vice President of Human Resources Kitty McCollum says that it's too much money for some employees to handle.
And that $480 a month premium is quite prohibitive for many of our employees in the university. Some of which can't afford to keep it on their dependents, and so as a result they have to drop it.
The monthly premium for an employee and family went up from $428 to $480, a $52 increase every month that totals $624 for the year. The raise for state employees was 2%, or a minimum of $850. If an employee received the minimum raise, they're only getting to take home an extra $18 a month. Working an average of 176 hours a month, the raise is only 10.2 cents per hour.
What we do know is that we were disappointed with the 2% rate increase for employees. We were certainly hoping for more.
Catherine Graves was hoping for more too. She has served on the Chancellor's Task Force for a Better Workplace and says the high price premium keeps people from wanting to work for the state.
So if you are married and you have no children and you want your husband, you pay as much as someone who is married and has 3 children or 4 children or 1 child. This doesn't just affect university employees. This is all state employees all over the state of North Carolina.
McCollum and Graves both say they are gearing up for next year's legislative session to fight for better health care options for university employees. Graves says UNC often acts as a leader in the state for policy changes.
And maybe our plan can help the state offer a better plan for other people.
They say hopefully with a lot of support, UNC workers can get the benefits they deserve at a price they can't afford. Workers told me one of the biggest problems is the state plan gives them only one option. It's sort of take it or leave it, and some of them have already left it.
Shelley, for workers staying with the state plan, will the insurance premiums continue to increase?
Philip, the rate's locked in for another 2 years, but workers fear some other increase in the cost of benefits could wipe out next year's raise.
Shelley Basinger reporting from the studio. Thanks, Shelley.
The National Institute of Child Health and Human Development wants to improve the health of the population and has chosen UNC as one of 6 institutions to kick off a new study. The study will look at how children's genes and environments interact to affect their health and development. Researchers from the School of Public Health will lead UNC's efforts. Because recruiting won't occur for another year, Principal Investigator David Savitz wants to give people incentive to join the study.
As I said, make the people that are in the study appreciate what an important job they're being asked to do, how important these contributions will be, and recognize that although they're having to do a lot of the work involved, that they're really going to do something special.
Here's how it'll work. Duplin County will be the study location. Recruiters will enroll 250 pregnant women a year for 5 years and will track their children from the womb to age 21. This is the largest long-term study of human health ever conducted in the United States.
Registration began on Saturday for the spring semester, but as many seniors found out, it's not always easy to get the classes you need. The problem is many classes listed in the course catalog aren't being offered in the spring, classes many seniors need to graduate. Some of the classes that are offered have only a small number of seats, and students filled them within 10 minutes of registration. Officials say they're working on the problem.
The class of 2006 will soon decide what to give back to the university. Balloons decorated the Student Union Monday as senior class marshals unveiled 3 ideas for senior class gift. Students came to check out bulletin boards and free food despite the rainy weather. The 3 ideas are a mural that will cover the outside of student stores, a welcome sign for North Campus, and an advising endowment. Seniors can log on to Student Central on November 1st to vote for their choice. Well, there's a new Mr. and Mrs. BSM after voting in the pit after the end of the week. After several days of hard campaigning by the candidates, on Friday, BSM announced the winners at a coronation ball. This year's theme, Mardi Gras, a tribute to New Orleans. Jared Jenkins won the Mr. BSM crown, and one of our reporters here at Carolina Week, Ada Wilson, is now Miss BSM. Her service project is breast cancer awareness.
My service project, I wasn't doing it for anything other than just trying to make people aware. You know, I'm really excited right now. It's surreal. I didn't think I was going to get it, but I did, and it's just made all the hard work worth it.
Wilson says she plans to continue her breast cancer awareness project. She also plans to run for Miss UNC.
When the Rams Head cafeteria opened this spring, dining officials hope to turn it into the main dining facility on campus. But so far, that hasn't happened. Officials say they're seeing too many empty tables like these. As part of an effort to increase traffic in the Rams Head, Dining Services created a meal plan for faculty and staff last week. They say the doors are also open to the public, although making room for students comes before making money.
I'm not really looking for a lot of off-campus people to come and take up seats if I have student demand. So it's not something that we, go after. We welcome the business, we'll handle the business, but what we really want to make sure of is that we're taking care of our students first.
Simon says despite now marketing to faculty and staff, there are no plans to advertise to the public. He says he thinks the facility will see more student diners when Morrison Hall reopens in 2007. Well, whether you're trying to shoot hoops or bad guys, video games at the Rams Head Dining Hall's end zone are now free. On Sundays, students can watch football on the big screen or play the video game version. And while some people bring their schoolwork, others just try out the virtual reality. Richard Nixon works for the Rams Head. He says the free games are attracting more people to the end zone. The end zone management says the games are free until the end of the semester.
Well, the growing AIDS epidemic in Africa is a problem we find too overwhelming sometimes to confront.
But there are some people who aren't afraid to tackle the crisis. Coming up, why some local students say the issue hits close to home.
AIDS has killed nearly 6 million children worldwide. That's more than every child in every preschool, grade school, and high school in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Washington, Atlanta, and Miami combined. The time to do something is now. The place is apathyisLethal.org.
Sub-Saharan Africa is the region of the world that's most affected by HIV and AIDS, where an estimated 25.4 million people are living with the disease.
That's right, and reporter Elizabeth Crumpler joins us in the newsroom with our latest in a continuing series of international special reports. Elizabeth?
In 2003, 150,000 people died from AIDS in the country of Kenya alone, leaving 650,000 children orphaned. Despite these overwhelming numbers, some students right here at UNC are taking steps to fight this growing epidemic.
A small village in the Rift Valley in Kenya. This is the idealized Africa, the happy faces of villagers. Not much different from how our children grow up, how we wish all children could grow up. But every society has its underside. Here in Kenya, it's especially heartbreaking. This is New Life Home, an orphanage in the capital city of Nairobi. As many as 700 children have come to New Life Home for shelter and care. Children who have been orphaned by HIV/AIDS. Many of them test positive for HIV. These are children without families, without homes.
Baby Susanna was the first baby that I saw there, and she was a 1-year-old, fat, happy, beautiful little girl.
Rob Stevens is a freshman at Carolina. He and 3 other students, 2 from Carolina, another from Duke, spent a month at New Life Homes this past summer, caring for the children. Baby Susanna, who tested positive for HIV, was one who captured his heart.
Susanna had kept on testing positive, which is a bad sign because usually within the first 6 months, you turn negative if you are going to. Just that moment, just that car ride there, realizing that the face of AIDS in Africa isn't necessarily this decrepit little baby or this decrepit dying people. It's beautiful little kids. It's smiling faces that are also the AIDS of Africa. It's people that we can connect to.
Stevens and the other students traveled with the Imani Children's Foundation, which seeks to connect American communities to the fight against AIDS in Africa. Imani focuses on the crisis that AIDS is causing for families in Kenya and the almost 2 million AIDS orphans living in Kenya alone.
There are roughly 15,000 undergraduate students at UNC Chapel Hill. Each year, more than 10 times that number of people die of AIDS in Kenya, leaving behind offspring that they don't have the resources to take care of.
Many babies are abandoned, left in the street, in dumpsters, or in pit latrines to die. And because the orphanages and hospitals in Kenya are overwhelmed with babies abandoned because of AIDS, the babies that are taken in are often ignored, unstimulated, and untouched. Babies that test HIV positive are often refused any sort of care at all. Duke freshman Katie Mickish says that in the face of this despair, the Imani scholars saw hope in the Kenyan people, and especially in New Life Home.
In the spirit of the Kenyans, we can learn so much from them, and that's the most important thing that I learned on the trip, was that although there's poverty, there's so much hope, and we can provide hope, and they can instill hope in us too for a better future for everyone.
And these North Carolina students are working hard to spread that hope throughout Kenya, one baby Susanna at a time.
Stevens was thrilled to discover that baby Susanna was recently adopted and hopes many other AIDS orphans will find happy homes through New Life. If you're interested in joining the Imani Children's Foundation for next year's trip to Kenya, click onto our website, carolinaweek.org, for more information.
Elizabeth Crumpler with a look at how some UNC students are responding to a very serious situation. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Well, back to local news. Halloween is still a few weeks away, but some say the ghosts and goblins have already come out. On Sunday, the Chapel Hill Historical Society hosted a free talk with ghost hunter Christopher Moon. Moon and the audience shared their experience of paranormal activities in famous places such as the Carolina Inn and Memorial Hall. Moon says orbs, or the so-called energy appearing in pictures, are actually snapshots of spirits.
Well, it's not every day you wear the same t-shirt as 100 of your classmates. Students in the Peer Relations Psychology class recently wore bright yellow shirts reading voted most popular at UNC. Students in the class and the professor wore the shirts for one day in an experiment to gauge reactions to popularity and peer status on campus. Professor Mitch Prinstein says the class liked having a hands-on approach to experimenting.
Well, I'll say that the students really were excited about this and designed the t-shirt themselves, and they wanted this to be as visible as possible, and I think they've definitely achieved that. Hopefully it'll be a good example of the importance of peer status for kids' lives too.
Students participating in the experiment will write papers about the various reactions people had to those t-shirts, as well as their own feelings about the reactions. Speaking of popular, the weather this past weekend didn't go over well with a lot of folks.
No, Rob, and I walked out the door this morning and was freezing. What is going on with the weather?
Yeah, we have seen a lot of changes go on with our weather, and we've actually have more changes in store, and I'll tell you about that coming up in your Carolina Week forecast as we breeze through fall.
open the doors to creativity. As a mother and teacher, I know that arts education can help our children develop confidence and a better understanding of the world around them. Even if you have just 30 minutes a week, get your kids more involved in the arts and think about the kind of world we can leave behind for our children and our children's children.
Art. Ask for more. AmericansForTheArts.org.
Daddy, why is the sky blue?
Well, to match your pretty eyes.
Nope, not even close. See, all colors have wavelengths that are diffused by oxygen and nitrogen. Since blue is the shortest wavelength, it's diffused up to 10 times more.
Who taught you that?
Mommy?
By age 12, too many girls lose interest in math and science and their chance at future jobs. Keep her interest alive.
You know why mathematics is the basis of life as we know it?
You tell me.
It's her future. Do the math.
Well, thank you for joining us for Carolina Week Weather. I'm weathercaster Rob Ellis. We're going to start with our Carolina Week weather headlines, and we started this week soggy as we saw all of that residual moisture from this weekend's weather storm showers that we saw come through and provide us with that rainfall. But I do have good news. There is going to be some clearing ahead, and it will be nice and mild once we get these temperatures up with that sunshine peeking through those clouds. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the rainfall recap for what we saw this past weekend. The rains observed at RDU International Airport, we saw on Thursday a 1/4 inch of a rain, just over a 1/4 inch. On Friday, picking up nearly an inch of rainfall from this system. And as we moved into Saturday, again, another additional over a 1/2 inch of rain, and just a trace on Sunday. So this provided us with the much needed rainfall. As we went into October, we were actually dry for the year. So this is good news that we make a dent in that precip deficit. Now let's take a look at that system as it moves off the coast. Here's the system. We had Gulf moisture move into our area in the form of Tropical Storm Tammy earlier last week, and that merged with the cold front and pushed off, and that's where the system sits right now. Now as you can see, we have a little bit of low-level cloudiness in place right now, and that's what's providing us with those showery conditions, just a low stratus deck, a lot of low-level cloudiness. Eventually that's going to push out of the way. And if we look out west, you can actually see this large system, some of the Gulf moisture moving up into the area, into Texas and into Kansas, and actually in Colorado right now, they're actually dealing with a snowstorm. We actually have 7 inches of snow on the ground and moving up towards 1 foot later in the day today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the surface map, and I'll show you where this is going to move to. This front should push off the coast, a little lingering cloudiness, but as we move through the weekend, that's going to clear up. Let's take a look at the 4-day forecast back here at Chapel Hill. We'll start out for Tuesday. We're going to see rainy conditions. Some of that rainfall is still going to be in our area, and we'll see a high temperature of about 70 degrees, low overnight 55. Wednesday we'll see 76 degrees. As that sun peeks through, we will see the temperatures begin to warm up. See the same thing again on Thursday. Lows overnight through this period are going to be in the low 50s, and Friday we'll do the same thing all over again, high of 76, low of 53, and so it's looking good if we can just get through these clouds.
Well, let's hope it stays beautiful for the weekend as well. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob. Heather Callan joins us here with sports. And
Hi, guys.
Speaking of clouds, there was definitely a dark cloud over Carolina sports this weekend.
It was a rough game, but we do have an off week this weekend, so hopefully the boys can relax and refocus. But we also had some good other games. Last year, the women's soccer team failed to win the ACC for the first time since 1988, falling to Virginia. On Friday, UVA came back to Fetzer Field. The Heels also took on the despised Blue Devils. Those results coming up.
I give you a 20. I'm sure of it. You're stupid.
Children are influenced by what they see adults do. Remember, a child may be watching you.
There is really only one boy, one girl, one tree, one forest, one ocean, one mountain, one sky, and one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, EarthShare. One environment, one simple way to care for it.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Heather Catlin. After the football loss on Saturday, whoever named it the Monday Blues knew what he was talking about. The Heels knew the game against Louisville was going to be tough, but coming off 2 straight wins, the Heels were hoping for the best. Head coach John Bunning explains why hope just wasn't enough.
I really believe that this was the game that we would have a breakthrough game, play our best football, and pretty much just the opposite took place. And we wanted to be aggressive with them and throw the ball downfield, and also be aggressive on in terms of blitzing their empty package or covering, whichever. And they came right out of the box hot, and to their credit, they made a lot of plays on us, a lot of big explosive plays on us. I'm just disappointed, I guess, probably even after halftime, that we didn't tackle better, and it just got uglier as it went on. So there's not much to say except it's just awful, and we as a coaching staff have got to be absolutely responsible for what we do from here on.
The 69 points given up were the most ever by a Carolina football team in their 117-year history. The women's soccer team battled it out on Thursday night against 5th-ranked Virginia, the only other undefeated team in the ACC. Last year, the Cavaliers won the 2004 ACC tournament, beating the Tar Heels in penalty kicks in the championship game. On Thursday, Carolina looked for revenge in the rain. Junior Elizabeth Guest broke free on this play and buried her second shot in the back of the net. Fans approved of her effort. Virginia tied the game behind this header midway through the second half. The game stayed tied until double overtime. This Carolina corner kick ended up right in front of the goal. After 2 rapid-fire shots and saves, senior Heather O'Reilly finally put the ball away, and pandemonium ensued. O'Reilly said attention to detail helped the Heels pull this game out.
More than anything, we just said that if each and every one of us did the little things, they would add up, and for those last couple minutes, we'd get one, and that's exactly what happened. We all did the little things.
But Sunday's game against Duke wasn't quite as cheery. Already down 1, Jamie Gilbert took matters into her own hands, feet with this rocket from 25 yards out. She missed some shots on goal, and a few missed calls left the score tied at 1 late in the game. Disaster struck when an innocent cross led to Duke's go-ahead goal with less than 3 minutes left in the game. The loss was Carolina's first home loss in 11 years. Coach Anson Durant said the pressure was mounting through the entire second half.
Second half wore on, and we struggled to finish it. Then, of course, you're sitting there thinking, well, they could get a chance, stick it, and then, of course, you're in trouble, and that's exactly what happened.
From the women's team to the men's, Virginia Tech came to Fetzer Field to take on the number 4-ranked Tar Heels. The Hokies and the Heels met for the first time as ACC opponents Saturday night. From offsides to missed opportunities, Carolina went into halftime scoreless. With time winding down, both teams were unable to convert. It wasn't until the 84th minute of play that Hokie forward Patrick Nyarko hammered out a shot into the right side of the net. Max midfielder Dex McCarty says both the offense and defense are to blame for the Heels' 1-0 loss.
I mean, it's not just one thing to blame. It's everybody. It's a whole team effort. I mean, defense steps up on that play, wins the ball, and we don't lose. If the offense steps up, score some goals, we don't lose. I mean, it's everybody right now. And
Carolina volleyball is tied for first place in the ACC after a win against Florida State Friday night. Carolina came out sluggish, but slowly fought back and won Game 1 with a block. In Game 2, Florida State dominated and won, but the Tar Heels made a quick comeback, winning Game 3 with ease. Carolina was forced to come from behind again in Game 4 and re-energized from the large crowd. Carolina won the game 30-27, taking the match to 3 games to 1. The Heels faced a tough match against Miami on Saturday. The team struggled to find its rhythm early on. After the Heels regrouped a Game 1 loss, Danny Nineheist became too much for Miami. The senior had 22 kills and 10 digs to lead Carolina to the win, 3 games to 1. It was especially sweet after losing to Miami twice last season. The normally reliable field hockey team has yet to win an ACC match this season. Will they be able to find it against Boston College on Saturday? Not if the Eagles had anything to say about it, as this hit was bigger than any that in that massacre they called a football game. In offense, the Heels had plenty of shots but couldn't connect. Then the Eagles struck just before the half. But in steps, Rachel Dawson's whose huge shot helped turn the tide for the Heels. Ashley Judge adds her first career goal to the scoreboard, and Heather Kendall's rebound finally declaws the Eagles by a score of 3-1. The Heels pick up their first ACC win of the season. On Saturday, the Heels got their 10th win of the season, beating the Stanford Cardinals 4-0. 8 of those 10 wins have been shutouts. Rachel Dawson recorded a goal and an assist, and Katie Tron had 4 saves to keep Stanford out of the net. Well, guys, it was a great weekend with other sports. Sorry for football, but some other good news. Mia Hamm from the soccer team, she was named in the All Sports Hall of Fame in Alabama.
All right.
That's great.
Well, I'm glad we can have some good news, despite a rough football game in Kentucky. Yes. Well, and they have an off weekend, this coming up weekend, to kind of regroup.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Heather.
All right. Webster's Dictionary just got wordier.
But you won't believe what's now officially part of the English language. Carolina Week investigates the newest additions to the big book, coming up.
When your children ask where you got married, will you have to tell them over there by the unleaded? When we lose a historic place, we lose a part of who we are. Help protect historic places in your community. Visit nationaltrust.org.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
All right, Shaheen, you're going to have to do the rest of your show yourself. I've got a brain freeze.
No comment. Well, if you aren't sure what a brain freeze is, here's Brandon Curry with an explanation of that and other terms that have found their way into the new dictionary.
Have you ever wondered what brain freeze means? What about chick flick or bikini wax? Well, the newest edition of Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary finally gives these words an official definition. But what do you think they mean?
Describe what a brain freeze is.
It's when you eat ice cream really fast and your head gets like, oh.
I think it's what happens when you drink ice cold drink on too quickly.
I had to find out for myself what exactly a brain freeze is. And that means just one thing: ice cream. Okay, that was really painful, but I had more definitions to investigate. I had to find out what a chick flick is.
Chick flick is the movies that are sappy and they're geared towards girls.
Chick flick is a boring movie.
I picked up a few recommended chick flicks and judged them for myself. After my painful investigation, I found no mistakes in Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. For your sake, I recommend you take Webster at his word. In Chapel Hill, I'm Brandon Curry, Carolina Week.
Well, thanks very much, Brandon. I'm glad he took one on the team for us here at Carolina Week to find out what those words mean.
That's right. He looks like he had a lot of fun. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Have a great night.